Hello, my name is Tori Smith, and I monitor a child trafficking operation which is operated by DARPA and the CIA, owned by the Bush family. And it's been really stressful lately, so I'll just try to get through this. I just got dosed with my 316th dose of herpes. They come in and they use this technology, and all of a sudden I have a big lump in my throat. And, I noticed that I kept saying, well, this isn't about me. This is about the children. And then I thought about it, because the temporals, all the temporal producing facilities had been destroyed. And then another group of aliens came in, I believe from the Sombrero Galaxy, and then they fixed all the equipment, and then they started making temporals again, and they did that in, I think, 6 locations. And then they had 32,000 temporals, and then they were destroyed. And then the more reptilians came in, and then they had 3 more producing facilities. And I remember one day just recently, we destroyed 17,000 of them one day. So I did a little research, and I found out that 14 million American citizens have been targeted the same way that I have by the disease ray technology or the needle technology. And what that means is they come into your home, usually while you're sleeping, and inject a virus into you. And usually they're cancer viruses. And because a lot of people don't know, well, cancers were caused by fungus for a long time. And everybody that has cancer has parasites as well. But a lot of people don't realize that most cancers today have been produced in my labs along with biological and chemical weapons, and 14 million of us now have been dosed. Well, I should stop complaining about that and move on. This is a big report. It was 78 million. Let me see, let me go back. $78.3 million was spent Friday just for one day of child trafficking in the United States of filthy lying murderers. The Air Force brought in 107 children, NATO brought in 66 children, and AFRICOM brought in 160 children. The Air Force picked up these children, their 107 children, in North Korea, where they had been raped 2,106 times by 314 North Korean males, including Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, and the rest all military. And I did a DNA scan of these two because, in the media they said Kim Jong-il was dead, but apparently he's just hiding out in underground facilities. And Kim Jong-un has 2 fathers, meaning created in a lab. They took the semen of 2 males and put them together, and I didn't really have time to look at the other guy. But having 2 fathers, for one, it's like Bill Clinton and the ones most people call Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of England, who were brother and sister. And their father was Winston Churchill. They were both created in laboratories first and then artificially inseminated into 2 different mothers. And this is so typical for world leaders. Of course, it was, everybody thought, oh, well, Bill Clinton, everybody's going to vote for him. He's going to win the election. No, he was pre-selected at the time of birth that he would be the president. And 21 of these Air Force males raped 16 of these children on the way 36 times, and they were flown directly to Roswell. NATO, 66 more children taken for the United States war crime against the Ukraine. And these children had been raped. 117 NATO war criminals raped these children a total of 296 times. And then 18 of these children were raped on the way here 36 times. And they were flown to Andrews Air Force Base, where they were all raped 167 more times total by 52 Air Force males. I'm really bitter. That's why I'm calling this the United States of filthy lying murderers. Because the United States is murdering people in 141 countries, and people think the military are... I just saw all these commercials today about how the military is heroes. Really? Military men who go in, they kill all the people in the villages, and then steal the children so they can be bring back to America and gang raped and murdered. That's what you call heroes? I don't. And AFRICOM has a very long history of going into villages and killing all the adults and taking the children. And they brought in 160 children on Friday, April 9th. And these children were picked up from Somalia and Iraq. 96 were taken from Iraq, and 64 were taken from Somalia. And AFRICOM males, a total of 127 of them, gang raped these children a total of 306 times. Then they were flown on 3 planes to Andrews Air Force Base, where another group of males, 207 of them, raped the children a total of 512 times. And then all 3 groups of these children were put into the MyLab child trafficking system. And the list is basically the same for everybody. It's corporate executives, military, police officers, and politicians. Almost over and over and over again, almost all these children are gang raped and murdered by that group. Every once in a while, there's somebody else thrown in. 6 of them were taken to Carson City, Nevada, where these 6 children were gang raped by a group of 116 males of DARPA, CIA, FBI, and the rest were corporate executives on vacation. It's the Lake Tahoe area. And they have underground access from certain resorts in the community where they can just basically take an elevator down and then be transported over to the child raping facilities. These 6 children were raped a total of 289 times. CEOs from Coca-Cola, Amazon, Ford, and GM. In Nebraska, I believe it's close to Lincoln, Nebraska, 6 children were gang raped by a group of 71 males, a total of 199 times. From DARPA, CIA, FBI, Boys Town executives, and 56 other corporate executives from companies such as Cargill, Aerostar, GM, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Amazon, and Nabisco. Because I guess they all can't go to one location, so they've been dividing people up. There was a huge amount of corporate executives in this report. And all 6 children were killed by 6 corporate executives, 3 from Boys Town, 2 from Cargill, and 1 from Aerostar. Aerostar was a company that produced these biological weapons and planted 3 of them in the Los Angeles area recently, and they were set to blow up. The CIA was going to detonate them, and their plan was to kill 15 million people in the Los Angeles area. And luckily, the weapons were confiscated by the Galactics, the people that I work with in the arrests of these reptilians. By the way, thank you for your prayers. In North Dakota, 6 children were gang raped by a group of 32 males, a total of 207 times. Again, Cargill, Amazon, Coca-Cola, GM, NSA, Department of Homeland Security, DARPA, the CIA, and Army Special Ops. These 6 children were killed by corporate executives of Cargill, Amazon, and GM. Grand Rapids, 6 children were gang raped by a group of 42 males, a total of 251 times. 14 CEOs and corporate executives, Michigan State Police, the FBI, DARPA, TSA, and the CIA. And all 6 children were choked to death during rape by 6 CEOs of Michigan companies. In Crawford, we've been calling Crawfordsville, which is a city in Indiana. It's not Crawfordsville, Texas, where the Bush criminal family has a 1,600-acre ranch. But the military complex there is actually 38 stories deep. So I just want to clarify, it's Crawford, Texas, Crawfordsville, Indiana. Crawfordsville doesn't have a MyLab. 6 children were gang raped by a group of 28 males to celebrate the new Bush clones. 32 new Bush clones have been made, and 28 of them raped these children 97 times. All 6 children were choked to death by clones of H.W., W., Jeb, Prescott, Neil, and Marvin. Atlanta, 6 children were gang raped by a group of 37 males. CNN executives, Coca-Cola executives, executives from Nordstrom, and 3 other companies. CIA, DARPA, FBI, TSA. And these 6 children were raped 114 times, and they were killed by CNN and Coca-Cola executives, all by choking them to death during rape. In Montauk, New York, where almost all the clones are produced, 6 children were gang raped by a group of 76 DARPA employees, a total of 203 times. And 6, what they call cloning experts, were the ones who took the children to death during rape. In Wilmington, Delaware, 6 children were gang raped by a group of 110 military contractors and 3 DARPA males among them. And these 6 children were raped a total of 377 times. and all 6 children were murdered by military contractors, CEOs, by choking them to death during rape. In Dallas, Texas, 12 children were gang raped by a group of 137 males, a total of 392 times. Secret Service, 6 Bush clones, Texas State Police, Alabama State Police, Texas Marshals, and 4 judges, and then also CIA, FBI, TSA, NSA, DHS, and 7 corporate executives. Sorry I have to speak so fast, but I'm on a tablet, and a friend of mine told me they're going to give me a computer, which is great. I'm really happy about that. And all these from most of these, the 7 corporate executives were from oil companies, and also Halliburton. And these 12 children were murdered by 6 Bush clones, 3 Texas State Police, and 3 executives, 2 from oil companies and 1 from Halliburton. And I think the oil company, the 2 was Exxon, and then this other one starts with a V, if it's like Valero or something like that. Valero, I can't remember. It starts with a V, though. I think it was Dick Cheney's oil company. It was Citgo, and then many of the Citgo stations turned over to this V company. Langley, Virginia, 12 children were gang raped by a group of 196 males, mostly CIA agents and FBI, along with 10 U.S. senators. And the children were murdered by 8 U.S. senators, 4 CIA agents, and they also were murdered by choking them to death during sex. Arlington, Virginia, 12 children were gang raped by a group of 212 males. A total of 666 times. DARPA, CIA, FBI, NSA, TSA, Department of Homeland Security, the state police from 6 different states, D.C. police, and 3 U.S. senators, and 14 corporate executives. And all 12 children were murdered by Department of Homeland Security to celebrate the new Holocaust. New York City, Midtown, 12 children were gang raped by a group of 163 males, mostly Wall Street. It's getting dark in here. Mostly Wall Street businessmen, 1 U.S. senator, his name's Chuck Schumer, DARPA, CIA, FBI, 14 New York City cops, including the chief of police, and the children were murdered by Chuck Schumer, the New York City police chief, and 10 corporate executives, and which I didn't have time to research the names because there's so much going on. And then I'm still back on Friday, and we still have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to do because today's Monday. In Houston, 20 children were gang raped by a group of 333 males, a total of 999 times. 157 corporate executives, Texas State Police, 8 Bush clones, Secret Service, CIA, DARPA, FBI, TSA, Department of Homeland Security, NSA, Air Force, and Army Special Ops. And all 20 of these children were murdered by 8 of the Bush clones and 12 CEOs of Halliburton and other oil companies. Indianapolis. Now, I've done a separate report on Indianapolis because I live in Indiana. I was born here in Indiana, and it's just horrifying that Indianapolis has a MyLab child trafficking location that's been open for 27 years. Almost 13,000 children have been murdered there. And 16 children were gang raped by a group of 105 males, a total of 296 times. Mike Pence had requested all boys, but DARPA did ship along one little girl, a little African girl, who was raped, I think it was 86 times by 64 males. And Pence raped and murdered a 3-year-old boy. And then 6 Indiana State Police employees murdered 6 more children. And then this guy who I saw his commercial today on TV, Indiana Senator Jim Banks, he raped his 3rd child today, the 8-year-old girl, 2 hours before Richard Lugar murdered her during rape. At the Pentagon, 33 children were gang raped by a group of 999 males, a total of 2,997 times. All 33 children were murdered by generals and to celebrate the new Holocaust. And all these children were raped by Pentagon employees. And that's kind of like an all-day thing. You know, I think there's like over 5,000 pedophiles who work for the Pentagon. Virtually everybody in the military is involved in raping children. It's a process. It's done on purpose, and they are using heavy, heavy mind control. A lot of these soldiers are loaded up with micronized robots. They have etheric chips in their head. They're being totally controlled, and most of them are all but too happy to go along with it. I'm not saying everybody in the military is a filthy, lying murderer, just most of them. In Denver, 36 children were gang raped by a group of 704 males, a total of 1,603 times. Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Marines, DHS, TSA, NSA, CIA, DARPA, FBI, Secret Service, the Colorado governor, and Colorado State Police, and Army Special Ops killed all the children, while over 200 males watched and masturbated and cheered them on. In Roswell, 66 children were gang raped by 999 males. I'm sorry, they were raped by 333 males, a total of 999 times. And they were just basically all military again, and they were celebrating the new Holocaust. Excuse me. Navy SEALs, Army Special Ops, generals, captains, special agents, Air Force, Marines, NSA, TSA, FBI, CIA, DHS, Secret Service, and all 66 were murdered by a group of 12 reptilians, and while over 200 males of the military masturbated watching them and cheering them on. And the same thing basically happened in Dulce. These people are absolute freaks, and they're into numerology. 66 children raped by 333 males, a total of 999 times, and it was the same as Roswell. Basically, same military groups, different men. They divide them up to going to Dulce and Roswell, and the same 12 reptilians that murdered in Roswell went to Dulce, and they murdered children over there, and it was again over 200 military males watched the murders of these children while they were masturbating and cheering them on. And yes, if you're wondering, yes, I am very bitter. I've been dealing with these people for 52 months now, every day, and today it was just non-stop attacks. Since 6 o'clock this morning, it's just been non-stop. And they just keep dosing me with all these different poisons. 18 biological and chemical weapons, weapons-grade anthrax, herpes, over and over again. They load something in my throat. It becomes so powerful I can't even swallow. And but I keep clearing it out. Well, God really is doing it all for me. I've got my zapper on, and blood zapper. Mine's an orgone blood zapper, ORGONE, and it has crystals and magnets in it, where other ones, don't. The regular ones don't, but they still work. You just have to wear them a little bit longer. Thank you for your prayers. I'm sorry I'm so bitter, but I don't know how anybody could deal with all this and not be bitter and angry about it. So maybe I should end on a nice note. Whoops, I can put this stand up. It was a pretty day out today, and it's a beautiful day here on the lake, and we're starting to have a little sunset, and I believe the HARP system has been turned off again because the last HARP storm is just over now. Thank you. Have a blessed day.